last video, I reorganised my bookshelves and I put every book that was on my TBR cart back onto my shelves because I'm not going to be using the TBR cart anymore. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out this video. Anyway, while I was doing that, I realised I was going to need to declutter slash unhaul some books because they just wouldn't all fit onto my shelves. So I have 35 books here and I have 26 that I'm definitely getting rid of, and then I have 9 that I really want to ask you about because I don't know whether to keep them or not. These are ones that I haven't read and I don't know whether I will or not, and I kind of want to ask you if it's worth me keeping them. So I'm going to pop those there and I will get to those after I've gone through the ones that I'm definitely not keeping. So we've got 26 here, so I can't spend too much. I can't be myself, basically. I can't ramble on too much. I'm going to try and go through them fairly quickly while still telling you what they are and why I'm getting rid of them. First up, I have Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayra. I'm so sorry if I've said that surname wrong. I read this one and I actually really liked it. I think this one, it was kind of popular for a bit and then it took a bit of flack, and I thought the flack it took was pretty unfair because I thought this was a pretty good book. I liked the humour, I enjoyed it, I think I rated this pretty well. It's one of those books that I can remember, and I remember liking the characters even though I don't remember every detail about it, but basically it's about a woman who becomes an assistant to a villain, and would you describe this as like, yeah, it's a romance, but it's like kind of funny as well, and it is like in a fantasy world. I don't know if you'd describe it as a romantasy. Oh my god, I'm doing a terrible description here. Anyway, I found this quite funny. I liked the sense of humour. I liked the relationship. Yes, it had some like unrealistic things in it and you had to suspend your disbelief, but honestly, like, I kind of expected that. I enjoyed the book. I haven't read the second one yet, but I plan on doing. However, I don't feel like I'm ever going to reread this one, even though I did enjoy it. So because of that, I am going to pass it on. But yeah, I liked it. I think I gave this a 4 stars actually, so yeah, I really liked that one. Next up is another one that I really liked and I recommend, and this is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, and this is a horror, and it's set in the Victorian times, although it's written in the 80s. I really enjoyed this one. Again, this has been in another one of my recommendation videos. However, I do feel like I'm probably not going to reread it. Look, if I ever got the desperate urge to reread one of these, I could, you know, I could borrow it from somewhere. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, really liked this one. This was another one that like I rate highly. I think this got like 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. Very creepy. Would like to watch the film of this, but I'm probably not going to reread it. So I'm just going to pass it on because there's no point having books that I'm not going to reread on my shelves. That's my take on it anyway. I like to keep books that I'm planning on reading. If I'm not going to get to them, then I might as well get rid of them. And if I'm not going to reread them, I might as well get rid of them. Along those lines, this is one by Tolstoy, and it's just one of the Penguin minis. So this is How Much Land Does a Man Need? I've read this and it was fine. I'm so glad that I read other of Tolstoy's work first, because this would not have encouraged me to read on, and I am going to do a video on Tolstoy hopefully quite soon and about where to start, because I see this recommended as a good place to start because it's like, it's a short story, it's incredibly preachy, it's like a preachy little religious book, and it's some of Tolstoy's later work, I believe, and yeah, I would say start with War and Peace over this, which I know it sounds mental, like why would you start with that huge book when you could get a taste for it, but this doesn't feel like Tolstoy. It's just a parable. It's a very preachy little parable is what it is, and I think Anna Karenina and War and Peace, I absolutely love them. I will reread them. I'm keeping them. I'm keeping all their translations. I'm planning on rereading War and Peace hopefully probably next year if I can in a different translation, but this is one that I'm not going to reread, so yeah, I'm going to pass that along. This is one I wasn't sure if I was going to reread, but again, I don't think I will. It's The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I did really like this one, however, I didn't love it anywhere near as much as I did The Everlasting. Now, The Everlasting I don't own a physical copy of. I got sent an e-arc for it and I absolutely loved it, so I would like a physical copy of that. And I definitely will reread The Everlasting, but this one, I enjoyed it. The writing's beautiful, and this is like a story within a story. So you're following a woman who finds doors as a child, and they're like portals into other worlds, and then there's a couple within those worlds and you follow their story. So you get this story within a story. It's very nicely done. It's got a bit of a slow start in my opinion, but then it gets much more into it, and I think it gets better as it goes on. But even though I did really like it, it's just not my favourite. It's definitely not one that I'm planning on rereading. So yeah, I'm going to pass that on because I think someone else would really enjoy that, and I haven't marked this one up or anything like that. Okay, next up is another one which, again, I've recommended in videos, and I think it's a really cute, cozy murder mystery. This is In the Company of Witches by Orally Wallace. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. And this is about a group of witches who run a B&B, and a guest dies in the B&B and they're trying to work out what happened. It's very cozy, although it does deal with some elements of grief in this. I enjoyed this one. I think I rated this something like 3.75 or 3.5 stars. I liked it. Didn't absolutely love it, but I do recommend it. And honestly, I was tempted to keep it because I just love the cover. And I think that's an unpopular opinion because I've heard that this cover was actually being redone and that people, I don't know, didn't like it, thought it was too kitschy, and I think it's adorable. But I'm not going to keep it just for the cover, especially since I don't even have it this way on my shelves, because I tend to only do that for my all-time favourite books, and I can't even do it with all of them because I would have too many books facing forward. Anyway, so I'm going to pass this one along. Again, I haven't marked this one up and it's still in nice condition, so I think someone else would enjoy that. This one I have marked up a little bit, but I quite like finding other people's annotated books, so I'm hoping that someone will still enjoy this and the charity shop or a little, little bookshop will still take it. I'm pretty sure one of my local indie bookstores will still take it because I've seen that they have pre-love section with annotated books in, which like I say, I like because I think it's fun looking at someone else's notes. Anyway, this is White Nights by Dostoevsky, and I enjoyed this one. I really liked it. I really liked his style of writing. However, I'm not going to reread it. It was one of those where there was a couple of quotes in it and a couple of bits of writing that I did really enjoy, and that's why I marked it off, and there's some annotations in this. I've taken a photo of those pages, so I have those bits, I have those quotes. I also copy quotes into my quotes book, so I have those. I don't need to keep it just for that. I'm not going to reread the whole thing. And if you don't know, this is about a man who he falls in love with a woman. She's a little bit younger than him, but that difference would have been seen as acceptable at the time. It is unrequited love, and she doesn't fall in love with him, but it's really beautiful. It shows their friendship and it shows his longing. It's very nicely done, and he doesn't feel entitled to it. I've seen some people say like this is like literally call the main character in this like an incel. He's not. He doesn't expect her to fall for him. He just has this sadness that she doesn't, and he's really grateful that he's met her and that they're friends still. So I really liked this one, but yeah, not gonna reread it, so I'm gonna pass it on and hope that someone doesn't mind my annotations. It's not covered, you can still, nothing, I never annotate so that it covers the text, and it's not absolutely covered in them, it's just got some of my notes in along the way. Hopefully that'll be fine. This is one I've just read. This is Guards by Terry Pratchett. I considered keeping this in case I would reread it, but I don't think that I will. I liked this one, but I didn't love it, and I want to try more in the Discworld series, but I think next I'm going to try the Weird Sisters because I have that one on Kindle. Someone suggested trying them on audiobook, which I think is a good idea. Because they don't have chapters, which just kind of throw me a little bit, I might try one of them in audiobook. And I do think that if I ever reread this one, I'd be more likely to get the audiobook of it than to read this. So I'm going to pass this one along. I got this one from a charity shop myself, and it was already a little bit beaten up with some underlines, and honestly, I think someone who smoked had this before because it's got a little bit of a smell. But I'm gonna pass that one along anyway. This one I bought new, and unfortunately it didn't work for me. This is Tales of the Macabre, and it is by Newton Webb. And look, this just wasn't for me. This is a short collection of horrors. I've spoken about this in one of my wrap-ups. It's got some weird stuff in here. It has a mixture of things. It's got some body horror, and I mean, look, I mentioned in my other video, there's a story in this about a glory hole. I didn't appreciate it. Didn't appreciate it at all. I knew where it was going. I didn't like it. It just wasn't my sort of horror. I will say I did read one short story in this that I thought was pretty good, and it was nothing to do with the writing or anything like that. I think it was just personal preference. This isn't like the horror for me. I found it a little bit disturbing, and I think maybe some people are looking for that and they might enjoy this. But yeah, not for me. I'm going to pass this along. It's still in excellent condition because I've only read 4 or 5 of the stories in here, and I haven't broken the spine or anything, so I think someone will appreciate finding that, and good luck to them with the glory hole story, frankly. Okay, next up is also one I read recently. This is a manga, and it is 10 Count by Rihito Takurai. I liked this one. This was in a recent wrap up. It's about a man with OCD who goes to a therapist, a relationship start developing. There was some pretty good OCD rep in here, especially considering obviously it can't go into lots of depth because of the medium it's presented in. But I'm diagnosed with OCD, and I have contamination OCD, and I did find it relatable. However, there was some kind of unrealistic therapy aspects in this, and I couldn't get fully on board with the relationship with this therapist. It was a little bit too much, and I don't feel like I want to continue this, and there's really just no point me keeping this one random one. I don't think I'm going to reread it, so yeah, I'm going to pass that on. Now we're getting to one that I actually haven't read. This one I soft DNF'd. There was nothing wrong with it. In fact, it was kind of pretty funny in a way, but I've picked it up and put it down 3 separate times now. I don't know why, I just can't get into it. Oh, I haven't even said, it's Wish You Weren't Here by Gabby Hutchinson Crouch. This is a comedy about a family of ghost hunters. It's just not been that memorable. I read a quarter of the way in, I put it down, I picked it up another time, I couldn't remember the start, I picked it up again. This time I think I read even less and put it down. I can't get into it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I say, I don't know what it is. It was actually quite funny in places, but also it wasn't holding my interest, and it was meant to be like a light rom-com read, so it's not something that I feel like, oh, I need to stick with that and finish it. I know I spoke recently about how I think that we DNF too easily sometimes. I'll pop that video up here, and I do, but I wish I'd mentioned more in that video that I think it's really genre specific as well, and really specific to what we're trying to get out of a book. And when I'm just trying to read for a little bit of light entertainment, if it's not providing it to me in that moment, I'm more likely to put it down. This isn't one that I want to persevere with, but I do think this could be a fun book for someone. It could be a good palate cleanser, and it just wasn't for me the times I picked it up, so I'm going to pass it on. This is another one that I've read. This is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. And I have a pretty unpopular opinion about this one. I don't like it. I was enjoying it all the way through, and I hate the ending. The ending ruined this book for me. If I'd have stopped reading this, I might have thought it was alright, I might have liked it. I would love to give you a spoiler about this, but should I? Okay, yeah, what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a tiny spoiler warning on now. Okay, spoiler warning. Spoilers on screen, so be here at your own risk. Basically, it's called One of Us is Lying, so the whole way through, someone is murdered, you're trying to work out who is lying, and none of them are lying. It's a very misleading title, like none of them killed him, none of them did it. It turned out that it was a word like, it's a word that YouTube doesn't like you saying why he died. And I hate to use the word unalived because I actually think it minimises something so serious, and I think it's insane that we can't say it without being demonetised, but there you go. That's actually what happened. None of them killed him, none of them were lying. Now, in my other video, someone did point out that technically all of them were lying about little things. So yeah, that's a fair point. They all were lying about little things, but you're led to believe that one of them killed him and that they're lying about that. They didn't. Really annoyed me. I thought it was a cop-out of an ending and a clickbaity title. I said it. Anyway, nothing against the author or anything. Like, I other than that, I thought it was a good book. It just annoyed me with the end. Next up is one I haven't read, and I just don't think I'm going to, and it's The Maid by Nita Prose. And I remember that this was very popular a few years ago, and I didn't actually buy this. My mum passed it on to me, and she passed it on to me because she said that she thought the protagonist reminded her of me, and that her friend gave it to her because she also said that the protagonist reminded her of me. Now that naturally made me curious. I had a quick look into what that actually was, and it turns out But it's the protagonist of this is autistic coded. So I guess that's the link, you know. And I've seen some reviews saying like it's kind of it's done quite clunkily and it's a little bit stereotypical, although I guess it's done well enough for my mom and her friends for it to remind me of me. Okay, anyway, I was a little bit curious, but I've not been compelled to pick this up, and I've had it for a while now, and it just seems like a little bit of a waste. I don't know, I don't want to be annoyed by stereotypes. Maybe I'm being unfair. Like I say, I haven't read it, but that is just what I've heard. I've heard people say like it's a stereotypical representation and that it's autistic coded, but it's never mentioned that she is autistic, and that it's played up the aspect that people do with autism where they kind of play up like, oh, so you must have this special skill of being able to solve this, you know. It always makes me think of Sherlock Holmes. I know that, again, Sherlock Holmes, it's never said he's autistic. In fact, he refers to himself as a sociopath. He has so many autistic traits. Like, I'm confident that Sherlock Holmes is autistic. Obviously, he's a fictional character. But to me, he's very autistic coded, and he has empathy for all of his friends, but he shows it differently. He refers to himself as a sociopath, and every time when I read it or I watch it on TV, I'm like, nah, he's autistic. Anyway, but yeah, they use that same kind of thing of like, oh, so he's really good at solving things. And it kind of reminds me of the past of when I've told people that I have technically my thing says Asperger's, but you know, they kind of just say autism now. When I've said to people like I have a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, people have been like, oh, so you're really good at maths then? And you're like, no. Anyway, moving on. Next I have Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, and this is one I haven't read. I do plan on reading, but I have a much better copy of it over here. This one is tiny because the print is so disgustingly small that I don't know how human eyes could see it. And I have my glasses on. I'm short-sighted, so I'm pretty short-sighted in both eyes. So I have to wear my glasses all the time, and I definitely have to see them for reading. But even with my glasses on, I can't read this. I can't read it properly. So yeah, I have this much clearer and much larger version over here, which I intend to read. So this one I'm just gonna pass on. On a totally different note, from Dostoevsky to The Little Book of Astrology. This is by Marion Williamson, and I don't know where this came from, frankly. I don't know who I think someone gave me this at some point. I'm not really into astrology. I'm into like a lot of different things. I am into a lot of esoteric and occult things, and I'm right about the occult myself. I write non-fiction. Occult things, don't search for me. They're not under my name. They're under a pen name. You won't find them. But yeah, astrology, I guess the person who gave me this, and I can't honestly remember who it was, I guess they thought that it seemed like something I might like, and I can totally see why they thought that, but astrology's never really been my thing. And this is, yeah, it's a cute little book, but it's just not for me. I've had a quick look through it, and yeah, I'm just gonna pass that on. Next up I have Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, and this is one that I read recently. This is a horror. It's very much based on like employees who work in IKEA, and like honestly it's kind of an analogy for how bad it is and how sucky it is to work on retail. And I think I told my own retail / office horror stories about when I used to do those jobs in my video when I spoke about this. Anyway, they get kind of they have to volunteer to be in the store at night. They're trying to find out what's going on, and things go awry. It was pretty good. It was pretty well placed, pretty enjoyable, but also I didn't really care that much about the characters, and I didn't really care that much about what happened to them. I thought it was, you know, I had a good time reading it. I definitely won't reread it. This was like, I think maybe I gave this about a 3.5 or something. Yeah, just not one that I'm going to reread. And I think someone will like this because I think it is a good one to read the physical one of. It has like the imagery in it. I'll see if I can show you. And the later on imagery, you get these kind of IKEA type, but like torture devices, but furniture. And yeah, so, you know, someone might want the physical version of this for the imagery, so I'm gonna pass that on. This is one that my mum lent me, but honestly I just don't think I'm gonna get to. So this is called By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult, or Picoult. Sorry, again, names, not great pronunciation. Yeah, my mum gave me this. She said she thought I might like it because it's about a playwright, and I think from what I understand, it's like set in two eras, and she's trying to get her work published as a woman in an era where that was like really hard to do. And my mum thought I might like it, and I can see why she thought I might. And honestly, I may well like this. I just don't have any plans on getting round to it anytime soon. So I think I'm just going to pass it back to my mum. I've actually never read anything by this author, and I don't know whether to try or not. She's just never. I've never seen a book by her that's really appealed to me, but equally, for all I know, I might really like her. So I don't know, but I'm going to pass this back to my mum for now. Next up, I have a classic, and it's one that honestly I've never heard of, and it's called White of Selborne by Scott Walter S. or Walter S. Scott. Okay, yeah, they've put the name in a different order. This I picked up a giant bundle of classic books, and in it has some books that I absolutely love and some that I really want to get round to. But this one is just not one of them. I have no desire to read this book. It's got some pretty cool images in it, I'll say that. Oh wow, that's quite the smell coming off that. Anyway, I just don't see that I'm ever going to get to this, and I don't want to keep it, you know, for no reason. Like, I keep the classics that I've read or that I intend to get round to here, and I do have some, you know, nice versions of of classics, but this isn't one that I think I'm going to get to. Okay, this is another one I've read. This is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. Normally I associate Sophie Kinsella with like rom-coms, and I always loved them, especially when I was younger. I used to love taking a Sophie Kinsella book on holiday. They always felt like really fun, like holiday reads to me, because I was never really into just romance that much, but I did love a good rom-com. Not so much in films, just in books, and I always liked Sophie Kinsella's. This one isn't a rom-com. There's a little bit of romance in it, but it's more about a teenage girl who has generalised anxiety disorder. I thought, you know, this actually my mum gave it to me because I was diagnosed with generalised anxiety disorder and panic disorder when I was about 13, I think. And I'm still diagnosed with them now. And I guess she thought I'd relate, and I did relate. I did relate to Audrey. Quite liked this book, but equally I'm not going to reread it. It wasn't one that I absolutely loved. I don't think it was that memorable. I think maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I'd read it when I was a bit younger, but yeah. I'm going to pass this one on. In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and this is a thriller set in a dark, dark wood, I know. And I enjoyed this one. So this was about you know what, I'm saying I enjoyed it. I mostly enjoyed it. There were bits on it that were kind of predictable, and there are bits that I've kind of forgotten. Anyway, it's about a group of friends who go to a wood and they stay in this house, and from what I remember, now that I'm thinking about it, the whole time I was wondering why our main character had gone, because it didn't seem like these people should be friends, and I think she hadn't seen them for a while, and that didn't make any sense to me, because the last thing I'd do is go to a house with people that I haven't seen in a while or didn't really like. I mean, I would have to like them so much to go and spend like a long weekend with them, frankly. So that made no sense to me. And they make some stupid decisions in this, which also annoyed me. But there was some good suspense in this. I do think overall it's still a pretty good thriller. I'm not going to reread it though, so I'm going to pass that on. Next up is another thriller. Really liked this one. This was How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister, and it's made me want to read more by Gillian McAllister. This was like a 4.25, 4.5 star for me. Really liked it. It was about a teenager who witnesses the murder of a homeless man by a teenage boy who's like a football star. She testifies against him, and for reasons based around self-defense, he doesn't get sent down. People start going after her because she is the court clerk accidentally reveals her name even though she's supposed to be kept secret as a child witness, and people start going after her. She gets like horrible death threats and things like that, and she has to go into witness protection, and it's really good, and it's about her and her mom trying to get away from these people, trying to stay safe, and how they're trying to stay one step ahead of it. And it also has her stepdad, and he can't go with them because he's got another family. He's got a daughter with his ex-wife, so he can't go into witness protection with him. So it adds this kind of sad family dynamic as well, and like themes of loss in here. So it's actually a little bit deeper than I expected. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one, really gripping, liked the ending as well, because one thing that always worries me with thrillers is I think a lot of thrillers ruin themselves with the ending, and there's a lot that just don't make sense. There's someone's like, you know, I've already decluttered this, Never Lie, I think by Frida McFadden. I don't want to spoil it, but a lot of people really like this one. Look, when you look into what happened, it doesn't make sense. It's one of those things where I'm trying to say this without spoilers. The person, if they know, and you know when you're in their head and you're like, no, you would know because I am in your head. You can't hold back things from me if I'm in your head. I absolutely hate when thrillers do that, and I hate when the ending doesn't make sense. So it makes me wary of them, but this doesn't do it. This one was really good. Good ending. But not going to reread it because, you know, I think with thrillers, once you know what happens, are you really going to reread them? And the only exception I've got to that is my set of Good Girls Guide to Murder. I actually might reread those, and it's been long enough where I don't fully remember everything in them. This one is going soon, but I'm going to be doing a video on, I'm not sure what I'm calling it, but it'll be something like objectively good books that I hate. This is by Murakami, and this is Norwegian Wood. The reason this is so tabbed up is because these are all of my little critical points and anywhere that had some terrible sexist part or bit that made me angry is tabbed up, and once I've gone through that video, this will be going. I've also read Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. Absolutely hated it. And it's one of those books where when you say you don't like, people will tear you apart for it. I've seen this happen on Goodreads. I literally saw a woman give an opinion about not liking those books. She clearly explained why. And people just started being really horrible to it. And there was some men going on there basically telling her to like go back to chick flick books because clearly she couldn't understand real literature. Like, oh, like, get over yourselves. But yeah, I'm planning on doing a video on, yeah, objectively good books I hate because brilliant writer, really good writing. I can't stand how sexist these are, and I don't want to hear that it's just the characters. It's not. I've seen Murakami interviewed. It's not just the characters. The interview was literally like, so did you do this intentionally? And he's there like, did what intentionally? No. Anyway, I'll save that just until then, and then it'll be going. So I will just pop this to the side. Okay, these, oh my goodness, heavy. These are a little bit different. These are 5 books on international law, asylum law, and international human rights law. Why do I have all these? These are from my second master's. So I did my first master's degree a while ago, and then a few years ago, I don't know, I was feeling a little bit bored after my son was, I was like a stay-at-home mother, my son was about 1, I was getting a little bit bored, and I decided to randomly go and do a master's. I did like half of it, and these are the books from that. So the master's was in international law and human rights law, and I had a breakdown. I couldn't continue, and these are kind of reminders of it. And sometimes I think, well, look, the university said I could go back and I could do the remaining credits if I wanted to. It's something I could do, but equally I don't plan. So I used to be a lawyer. Maybe I should have started with that. And I don't plan on being a lawyer again. I don't plan on going back and working in law. It wasn't for me. I did this, to be fair, I didn't really at the time. I just did it out of interest. I'm really interested in human rights law. I'm really interested in international law in general. Yeah. So I did it just as a pure interest-based thing, but all these are reminders that I didn't finish that programme, and I don't think I'm going to finish that programme. Plus, you know, I'm sure a current student could use these. They are about 3 years out of date, but I always bought ones that were slightly out of date because realistically, they don't tend to change that much. Oh, now I'm throwing it. Okay, so that's all the ones that I'm definitely getting rid of. These other 9 books are books that I'm not sure if I'm keeping. So I'm just going to run through them, and I need your help. So first up, this is Zadie Smith on beauty. Years ago, I'd heard about this a lot and how brilliant it was. I've never read anything by Zadie Smith. I found this in a charity shop, oh my goodness, about 5 years ago. I kind of forgot I had it. It turned out it was kind of stuffed at the back of my shelf. I just don't know if I'm actually going to get around to this. Is this worth me reading? I mean, look, it says it was the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction, so maybe I should give it a go. I don't know why I haven't gotten round to it. If you've read this, let me know. Is it good? Is it worth me keeping it? Next up is one that I bought primarily for the cover. And it is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. And yeah, I bought this. Look, it's got the word coven on. It's got a cool cover, and that made me buy it. I haven't read it though, and I've had it for a couple of years, and it says, known as Her Majesty's Royal Coven, they protect crown and country from magical forces and otherworldly evil, but their greatest enemy will come from within. Anyway, I've seen very mixed reviews about this. Don't know whether to keep it. Maybe I'll get to it at some point. I haven't felt a real desire to. If you've read this, please let me know. Was it, like, did you enjoy it? Is it worth me reading it? I've also got Life of Pi by Jan Martel, and I've seen the film of this, and I liked the film, and I've heard people actually say that they preferred the film to the book, which is quite rare, but that's kind of just what I've heard. And I don't know if I'm actually going to get round to this. I sort of feel like I've seen the film, and I don't know if I want to read the book. I quite liked the film. I didn't absolutely love it, and I don't know, I'm not really sure where I got this from, to be honest with you. It's also got pretty small text, so that's not appealing to me. But yeah, I don't know. Is it worth me reading the book? Is the book better than the film? Help me out. This is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and this one my husband got for me. He read it and he enjoyed it. I think he did have some problems with it. I think he said there were bits that felt like they were a little bit too young and some humour that he didn't really jive with, but he liked it overall, and I don't know whether this is for me or not. I've heard some good things about it. Again, I've heard mixed things, so not sure about whether to keep that one or not. I did consider doing a video where me and my husband kind of swap books though, and I thought this could be a good one to read that he's read and see what I thought. Not sure. Okay, this is another one. I DNF'd this. This is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I was so excited for this one. I really liked One Dark Window by the same author. I read this to just over 50% and then I DNF'd it. I couldn't get into it. I liked the writing style, but there were bits that just kind of put me off, and yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I kind of soft DNF'd it, and I thought I was going to get back to it, but I just don't feel compelled to pick it up again, and yeah, I don't know. It's a very beautiful looking book, but yeah, I don't know. This one, My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I've heard really brilliant things about this. I don't want to be too honest here. This one, the subject matter affects me personally, and I'm not going to say any more than that. But I don't know if this will be too difficult to read because of that. I don't want it to bring up things from the past. How well done is this? How sensitively is it handled? Is it distressing to read? Let me know. I have heard really brilliant things about it. Part of me wants to read it, and part of me wants to read it to prove to myself that I can read about this subject matter now, and I worry that I'm going to relate too much to the feelings that the protagonist has and how she didn't realise until she was older. Yeah, I don't know. How sensitively is the topic matter handled on this one? If you've read it, I would like to know. Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I started this one and it says myths and stories of the wild woman archetype. My mum got me this one for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I read some of it. I read up to not very far in. Okay, I read up to there. What's that? Like that much. And why is there no page numbers on this? Is there a page number? I don't know why there's no page numbers. Anyway, I like quite out there things, you know, and this was too out there for me. I couldn't get into it, and when I was reading it, I was like, okay, I've heard very mixed things about this, and I don't know if it's worth me trying to pick it up again. I saw loads of people saying how empowering it was, and oh my goodness, this woke me up to my womanhood, and I feel so powerful and empowered. I didn't feel that at all when I was reading this. I was reading this, and I was like, not really feeling this, not really getting it. It started off, I felt like it was just a bit wackadoo. Is that a word? And I'm into some pretty out there stuff, you know. I mean, I write non-fiction occult. Okay, I can't get into it. I don't know. I'm not sure whether to keep this or not. Maybe I should keep it and try it one more time. I don't know. Let me know if you've read this. This is another one. I bought this from a charity shop just because I saw it. It was in good condition and I thought, why not? It's Freckles by Cecilia Ahern. I think this is about someone who's like struggling to fit in and realises she hasn't got many friends, and I think it's about like learning to accept yourself. It sounds kind of nice, and honestly partly bought this because I thought the cover was cute, and I think it's pretty cute underneath the cover as well. It's like the book is freckled. But it's just one that I've had for a while now and haven't picked up. So yeah, if you've read this, let me know. Did you enjoy it? Is it worth reading? Final one I have is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I saw this one everywhere a few years ago, fell into the hype, bought it, even though I do not read much romance. So it's contemporary romance, which if I'm going to read romance, I'm going to read historical romance, or I want to say like fairy tale romance, which I know is a really specific category, but like yeah, like fairy tale kind of romance. And I like certain romanticities or romantic fantasies or fantasy with a subplot of romance. I don't tend to gravitate towards contemporary romance, although there are a couple I really like, so I think that's why I haven't read it. I don't know if it's worth reading this. I think it's like forced proximity, enemies to lovers, to be all tropey about it. I mean, it says honeymoon of a lifetime with her sworn enemy. If you've read this, did you enjoy it, or was this just overhyped a few years ago? That is all of them. So that's all 35. Like I say, 29 that are definitely going, although this one's got to wait until I've done the video. Although I haven't got Kafka in the Shore. I wish I'd kept it, but I got rid of that before my BookTube channel because I hated it so much I couldn't stand seeing it on my shelves. It's a book that I had a really visceral reaction to, and yeah, it's always worth examining why when that happens, and I did, and I still don't want to look at that book. But yeah, I'm going to keep this one until I've done that video. Let me know about these ones. That is all of them. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, you know, if you want to. That would be nice. And I'll see you soon. Bye.